In these unprecedented times, Catholic Social Services of the Miami Valley continues to be an instrument of Christ's call to serve the most vulnerable among us. While we will not be able to come together to celebrate their impact this year, the Jazz Party Committee invites you to join us on a sentimental journey where we will shine a light on 7 CSS programs changing lives in our community. Our journey continues this week with Jazz Party Committee member Julie Taylor sitting down with longtime staff and volunteers of CSSMV's Supervised Visitation Center, Erma's House.
Well, I initially started at Erma's House as a manager back in 1997, and then when I retired in 2013, I had other positions at Catholic other than Erma's House. I started volunteering as a visit monitor and have been doing that for the last 7 years.
I have been at Erma's House for a little over 20 years. I graduated with a degree in criminal justice and sociology. I started working in Greene County Domestic Relations Court. I started a program helping victims of domestic violence get protection orders.
Erma's House is a supervised visitation center that Catholic Social Services was asked to operate over 20 years ago to serve families that have been impacted by domestic violence and family violence, to help them maintain their relationships with their family members. More recently, the reasons why families are referred to Erma's House are increasingly mental health and addiction issues. We have a very small, dedicated staff and a large number of trained volunteers who help provide the services every day.
As a visit monitor, you're there to support the child during the time that they're visiting with their non-residential parent. And so you want to be sure that you understand some of the family dynamics about what can be talked about and what can't. And so you're there to make sure the child feels safe. If it's a divorce situation, sometimes a parent will try and hook the child into some discussion about the other parent. And so we're there to limit that kind of conversation.
I love kids. And I think it's sad in this world that we have parents who don't remember that they're supposed to be parents, and that outside life becomes so hard for the parent that they can't be a parent.
I mean, our families are typically court ordered to come here, so I don't think there's anybody standing outside with their hands up saying, I want to go to Erma's House.
They come to Erma's House because there has been some kind of conflict in the family. There may have been domestic violence, there may be mental health issues that have impacted how the parent has interacted with their child or children. They may have been in a very high conflict divorce. There have been situations where the children may have been physically or sexually abused.
It's not an ideal situation. It's not natural that you have to go to a place to have supervised visits. What they're going through at that time, this is the best option for them. So typically they appreciate that. And then of course the residential parents, they know their kids are in a safe place. It's actually named in honor of Erma Bombeck because of her connection with UD, because we're located near UD's campus, and her love of family, and her career was based on, you know, talking about her family, the comedy, her humor with her family, and we're on Erma Bombeck Way. It's a much nicer, friendlier place to say, oh, I'm going to Erma's House to see my mom or dad, rather than, oh, I'm going to Catholic Social Services at the Miami Valley, you know.
Erma's House is really special because the focus began and has continued to be on the safety and the comfort of the children, where they can visit with their parents and have that quality family time, knowing that they're safe. It's child-friendly, it's consistency, it maintains family relationships.
I think like over 20 years, I mean, I've seen a lot. You're supposed to keep your professional boundary, but it's hard not to get attached. It's hard not to feel for the families, for the kids.
The longest family that I was involved with was a little over 5 years. And it was a dad and his son who came to Erma's House because the dad had mental health issues and substance abuse problems and had been homeless, and his son was living with the grandparents. And whenever dad would come sporadically to visit at their home, there would be conflict of some sort. The family decided through the courts that it would be best to be in a supervised visitation environment. He was probably about 5 or 6 when he first came, and then stayed till he was almost 12. So got to see him kind of change from sort of a quiet, shy child to one who was very energetic and a little bit more outgoing, and showing those preteen kind of qualities that are sometimes enjoyable and other times baffling to us as adults. But he was a wonderful kiddo.
One of our accrediting bodies, the Council on Accreditation, shared with us at their last visit that Erma's House, our Erma's House facility, is the gold standard for supervised visitation centers across the country. I think Erma's House is a very special place because clinically and administratively, it checks every box of best practice. But it doesn't feel clinical, it doesn't feel restricted. It feels like a place where children visit with their parents and have a wonderful time maintaining the relationships that they both want and need.
It's like over 90% of our families say that the service is helpful to their family, that their relationships improved. I get to see children, interact with their non-residential parent in a positive environment, in an environment they may not be used to. A lot of our families come from a lot of chaos, a lot of trauma. They're not typically families that, grew up playing Candyland or, reading stories at bedtime. At Erma's House, they get to do that, and the kids just soak it up and they love it.
It's been fun for me over time to see kids grow and develop and see them kind of change at the different developmental stages that kids are, and become comfortable in the environment, knowing that the adults around them are there to make sure that they're safe and that they're not at any risk.
I think the fact that kids and parents have a chance to have some type of relationship that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
It's a safe place for children. It's a consistent place for them. I think it's important for people to know that the staff, Jeanette, Shannon, Sheila, the security guards are there because they really care about the clients and the children in particular. They want them to be safe and comfortable.
The house is a safe place. It's a place where connections can be made, and a place where children can have fun while they're in this safe place with a parent that they have had troubles with in the past.
I will tell you, I thought that I knew a lot about Erma's House. I was involved in the junior league at the time that Erma's House became one of our programs, and I thought I understood it fairly well. But having the perspective of 3 different people who are involved in different ways with Erma's House has just strengthened my knowledge in it so much, and my faith in what this organization is doing. They're very passionate about what they do at Erma's House, and it really all comes back to safety of the children and strengthening the families.
Someone who's been involved with it for as many years as I have, I think it's critically important that we find ways of supporting it financially so that we can provide the services to people in this community.
Providing help.
Creating hope.
Changing lives.
Thank you for your support of Catholic Social Services. We are all in this together, and CSS needs our support more than ever to continue their beautiful mission. You can learn more about our sentimental journey, find more stories, and offer your support for all their programs by visiting cssmv.org and clicking on the Sentimental Journey link. Thank you for your support.